It's an important consideration in modern America to help law enforcement officers who are in trouble. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson. Today's lesson comes to us from Franklin, Ohio, and it shows a police officer being assaulted by a suspect who became aggressive. And we're going to see bystanders step in here to help the officer. And it's going to make a couple of important distinctions for us and give us some considerations as to when and how to step in to help an officer who's in trouble. When you read the news story about this one, this officer here who is right now in a pretty significant ground fight with this guy who's just been interviewing him, and the guy's attacking him. If you go watch the original, the guy screams at him a couple times to shoot him. So this is kind of suicide by cop here, but it's a pretty intense fight. And in the middle of that pretty intense fight, what we're going to see is a couple of Good Samaritans here. First one in the black shirt and then this guy in the red shirt that are going to pile out and help this officer subdue this suspect and get him in cuffs. And thankfully, that's where it ends. It doesn't end with somebody shot. It instead ends with a guy in cuffs. And then I'm going to speed it up here, and you see them checking on him and him being very, very grateful. And this is how those are supposed to go. Obviously, we don't want to see an officer get in a fight at all, but if they do, this is why we help them. So first things first I want to talk about here is I want to talk about your ability to fight, and to fight from any kind of situation that you find yourself in. One of my martial arts mentors, Skip Hancock, is very fond of saying you just got to fight the fight that you're in, not the fight you want to be in, and that includes ground skills. And whether that's bottom position or here top position, you got to be able to fight. And these are things that you got to learn on the mat and you got to practice. You see here that it went from a ground fight to a standing clinch fight. And that's why we talk about you got to have skills in more than one discipline, more than one traditional or classic discipline, so that you can handle these in all of their dimensional stages of action. And as we see him going on here, we talk about this person just rushing in, and I want to talk about that. He jumps in to help the officer. I would really strongly encourage you, if you're going to help an officer, to identify yourself and ask if he needs help, because you don't want to startle him into thinking that you're an accomplice of the person that he's struggling with. But it worked out okay here. Everybody's fine. But again, I would really strongly encourage you, officer, do you need some help? Can I help you? Then when the officer says yes, then you jump in and you do the best you can. If you're going to do that, though, you definitely need some empty-handed skills, and you need to be able to work as a partner and communicate with that officer, especially if you're a CCW. You want to identify that to the officer, even if you don't draw your CCW and you don't use it, just so that you don't surprise them. At the end of the day, I think these guys both did a tremendous job. I think that they were heroes here for helping, and I think that it's wise to step in and help if you can. Because of their help, everybody came out okay here. Nobody died, and the officer covered his ass.